Greetings. Thank you for joining me on my inward journey. And today we're going to talk about developing thick skin. You know, no matter who you are, if you live long enough, somebody's going to criticize you. Somebody's going to make allegations. Somebody's going to attack you on some level. They're going to attack your philosophy. They're going to attack either real or imagined former actions. But you got to have thick skin. You got to ask yourself, am I going to worry about what they're saying? You'd be surprised how many people get mad because somebody don't like their post on Facebook. How many people take that as a personal insult, that you didn't comment on their status, or the fact that you didn't sign a petition or something that they put out, or the fact that you decided to honor your purpose and honor your inner greatness, and you going on to do bigger and better things, and they feel slighted. They feel like you ain't keeping it real. You looking down your nose at them. And a lot of times people will attack you. They will get on comments. They will comment on your posts, whether it's your YouTube, whether it's your Facebook, whatever. They will come to different public settings and say things that are unfavorable about you. You have to decide, and only you and them know if these things are true. But you have to decide, you know what? I'm gonna have thick skin. So what? I made mistakes in the past. So guess what? There's somebody who used to be a dope dealer like myself. For some people, I'm always gonna be forever a felon. Forget him. He's a felon. F what he talking about, so on and so forth. For some people, I will never ever be able to have no kind of social redemption. And I have to be okay with that. And guess what? For some other people, maybe they used to be a prostitute. Maybe they used to be a drug addict. Guess what? They're going to be forever a prostitute, forever a drug addict. People will try to shoehorn you into their definition of what they feel you are. You have to decide that, you know what I used to be, that's not what I am. So what? I made mistakes. I ask anybody right now, if you haven't made a mistake ever, then just cut this off. If you've never made a mistake, then you're definitely on the wrong channel. But if you have made a mistake, should you be remembered by the worst mistake you ever made? It's a book called Just Mercy that talks about that. Often, sometimes people make horrendous, terrible mistakes in society as a whole, and sometimes as individuals. We choose to remember the very worst of people. Think about it. Think about right now on YouTube. Think of how somebody may write such and such disrespect. They'll take one famous person against another one. Such and such disses such and such. Eminem disses blah blah blah. 50 Cent versus such and such. And guess what? Those are what a lot of people call clickbait, because sometimes it's not a diss, it's not disrespectful. Sometimes it is, but sometimes it's not. But think of how much attention that attracts, that negativity. So guess what? As you start to move up your ladder of prosperity, you are going to become a target of somebody else's opinion. You are going to become that person that can draw attention to them. So everybody, oh, you know what? I went to school with him. But I was like, you know what he used to be? He was a sucker back then. We used to take his lunch money. He was a punk back then. Whatever. So as your stars start to rise, you will start to be a target of more and more attention. You will start to be a target of people you've never met before, people who've never met you, other YouTubers, other people who's trying to elevate themselves. And sadly, too often, so many of us seek to be shock jockeys. We seek to raise our star by tearing somebody else down. And it's one of the key tenets of self-governance is self. That's the big thing. We focus on being accountable for what we do, for what we've accomplished. We be accountable for the mistakes we made, and we try to make retribution where and when possible. Self-investment. We invest in ourselves, both in time and money. And we require growth. But guess what? what's not in there. It's not tearing other people down. It's not about that. Because self-governance is a full-time job. You got to spend every and all your effort being the best you can be. How can you be building yourself up if you're taking this time to tear other people down? Now, it's one thing if it's a legitimate situation that you feel the need to be critiqued. If it's something, if that's your, that may be your purpose in life, to call attention to some of the social injustices, to advocate for certain issues, maybe healthcare, universal healthcare, education and prison reform. Maybe that's your purpose. And if those are the case, that's not like you trying to tear down an individual as opposed to actually tearing down a system or individuals who co-sign with a system that's oppressing others. That's a little different. But what I'm talking about is people who just troll, people who just go out of their way to lie and distract and tear down other people so they can build up a reputation for themselves, so they can build up a name for themselves. So just beware of unwarranted criticism. And if it is warranted criticism, address it. You don't necessarily have to come out and make public apologies. But if people are making points, you're like, man, that's true. I do got a deficiency in that area. I'm going to address it. That's all part of that self-growth thing. That's part of being accountable. People are bringing out good points. Say, hey, I didn't think about that. Then that's a good thing. But you got to have thick skin. Don't automatically jump to be defensive. And just because people invite you to an argument, don't mean you have to show up. Just because people invite you to a fight, don't mean you have to show up. Because once you get more mature and once you get more elevated, you will learn that you ain't got time to respond to all the pettiness. So that's the thing. People who are operating in a low space, people who aren't really trying to achieve nothing and are very aimless in their aspects in life, they got time to be petty. They got time to major in the minors. They'll make a big thing about nothing. They'll talk about how big her booty is. They'll talk about how beautiful his eyes is. They'll talk about how funny this comedian is and how great that athlete is. But when you get to talking about accountability, when you get to talk about self-investment, you got to talk about how many books they read in the last 30 days versus how many shows or comedy shows they've been to in the last 30 days. It's a different thing. So they make an art of majoring in the minors into things that aren't going to really change their life. But you want to major in the major stuff. You want to major in the stuff in terms of honoring your purpose, doing what makes you feel good, makes you feel fulfilled, makes you feel like you have a life worth of meaning, make you feel like you have some power, some say-so over your life. That's a key principle there. That's what's important. You want to major in making a difference. You want to major in taking care of yourself, taking care of your health, getting proper rest, getting proper exercise, having a decent diet. These things are very important versus majoring in who's the greatest boxer of all time, who's the greatest athlete of all time, who's the greatest whatever of all time. Now these may be some fun discussions or whatever, and of course if you Stephen A or Shannon Sharp or somebody like that, that's how you make your living, commentating on these. But if you're not and you don't aspire to be that, then why spend a major part of your time debating and discussing things that's not improving your life? It's not making your bank account no bigger. It's not making your blood pressure no lower. It's not making you no healthier. And it's not making people in your family no happier. Well, that's my spiel. Remember, have thick skin. Let it bounce off of you. Operate in your purpose. Honor your inner greatness. Go for it. Because so few will ever have the courage to go for it. Most can, few will. In the meantime, persist, believe, and achieve. That's my time.